Spears here with another Scott Spears Reports on this Halloween, this Wednesday, October the 31st, 2012. Hope you and your children have a great time tonight out doing all those great trick-or-treat things. And I saw somebody on Facebook earlier on today say they might not take their kids trick-or-treating because it's cold. Listen, I went trick-or-treating for probably 14, 15, 16 years. It's cold on October 31st in Ohio. Just wear a coat, it'll be fine. Enjoy tonight and be safe. As I said, two things I want to talk about because in the last 3 or 4 days I have been to a couple cool events and I haven't had a chance to talk about them. Number one was Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan visiting Marion at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. I was lucky enough to get a press pass to that event. I appreciate the people who granted that on the state level of the Republican Party, as well as the local people who helped me get to that point. I appreciate that. And what I'm going to say here has nothing to do with Mitt Romney, has nothing to do with the upper echelon of the Republican Party, and has nothing to do with the local officials, because I appreciated being there. You have to know that. And by the way, the Oak Ridge Boys performed, and this has no bearing on that. I think I'm actually going to interview the Oak Ridge Boys here in the beginning of November, so I'm kind of excited about that. But I always was a fan of Elvira, so that was kind of fun because I didn't know they were going to be there. In any event, here's what I want to talk about that event for. Nothing political, but I have never been treated, and I hate to say this because this sounds kind of, in my own mind, it even sounds kind of outlandish. But I've never been treated so rudely as a member of the press at any event in my life. I came through that, first of all, I got to Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and it was packed. I think they were at capacity of 5,000 people. But nobody knew where the media entrance was. I kept asking people, nobody knew. So I finally found the media entrance, and of course I had somebody with me, my cameraman, and he's carrying the tripod and the camera, and I'm carrying the microphone, because there's only 2 of us. We couldn't get, you can't bring a whole crew when you're in this media area. So we're trying to get in, we're standing in the lines. The event had already started because it was packed, the streets were backed up, it was quite an event. Nobody knew where the media entrance was. We finally found the media entrance, and as I'm going in, a gentleman in line, I'm not even sure who he was, says to me, because he sees us carrying this equipment, he says, "Who are you?" And I said, "Media." Because I thought he was asking me why I'm carrying this equipment. And he says, "Well, who are you? Who are you with?" And I said, "Well, my name's Scott Spears." "Well, I don't know you." I said, "Well, if you want to, you can go home and Google me." Well, I guess he didn't like that. Or Google me on his phone. I didn't know if he still had availability to his phone or not. We were out in the corridor. He didn't like that. So then I turn my head after I make that statement, and he decides, in this room full of people, because there's probably 30 of us, 40 of us out there in this corridor, starts attacking me. "Oh, why are you bringing your equipment in here? Why do you have this? Why do you have to bring this? Who are you?" He just got very angry at me. And I turned back and said something to him. I guess maybe I shouldn't have, but I did, because in that moment it just enraged me, and I'd been rained on and had to go across the field. By the way, that was another thing. Unfortunately, it rained and snowed that night, and they parked us on the field, so we had to walk through the field and over the horse track, and people were stuck on the horse track. That's nobody's fault, just unfortunate timing of the rain. So I was pretty bent out of shape by the time I got in the room, but I had calmed down. But for somebody to attack me in line, I just didn't care for that. But anyway, I got past that. And we got into the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and I end up in the press booth, and that was fine. And once I get in there, there's this man, and I still to this day have no idea who he was, but he kept hovering over me. Now understand, there are probably 8 to 10 cameras there, 8 to 10 people, 8 to 10 different networks, all these people doing just internet things. No television, no radio, just internet sources all around the area where I'm at, and he just hovered over top of me. Never said a word, but kind of had this grin on his face. Like, I'm not even sure what the grin would imply, but the whole 90 minutes I was there, he did that the entire time, never said a word. I felt uncomfortable by that. Number three, when the event was over and everybody was done speaking, I was just trying to make small talk. And I was sitting behind the sound man. And I leaned over at him and I said, so do you travel with Mitt Romney or were you just hired here in Marion? Would not speak to me. He looked at me, looked right in my direction. I mean, we're standing 2 feet from each other. Looked right in my direction, never said a word, and then started talking to the person behind me who had never said anything to him. Now, take this how you want, send all your hate mail, but if that's how those events are going to be, I particularly don't care if I'm ever invited again. I'll ask for a press pass because that's what you're supposed to do as media. But if I don't get approved, trust me, I won't cry over it. Because people like that, for whatever reason they had for doing it, need to grow up. Come on. Get a break. Get a life. Grow up. And that's all I have to say on that. It was pathetic. Moving on. Went Monday night to Columbus, Ohio, the Palace Theater, and saw the Long Island medium, Teresa Caputo. Interesting. 2 hours, probably over 2 hours, she read that 2,000-seat sold-out theater in Columbus, the Palace. I'll tell you this, if you watch her on television, good for you. I had never seen the show. I was just invited to go. Met her husband. I liked her. I can understand why she gives people hope. I've been known to have psychics on my show. I think they help people in a kind of a cockeyed sort of way. But let me tell you, if you went to the show expecting to see the accuracy that you see on the TV show, it's not there. In 2 hours, it doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't. I don't know what to say to that. I don't hope that doesn't decrease anybody's belief or improve anybody's belief, but it's not what you see on the 24, 28-minute television series. She does get some things right, and it's very peculiar, but it's not always there, and it's certainly not part and parcel of the television series. But I had a good time. I will say that. Like I say, met her husband, enjoyed that. Other than that, we're just recovering from New York. I hope everybody survived okay. If anybody's in New York watching this, I hope they came through okay. Washington, D.C., anywhere that nor'easter hit. In Pennsylvania, almost here in Ohio. I think some areas in Ohio. Hope everybody's okay. Hope everybody's doing well. Comment on this. I enjoy reading your comments, good or bad. That's what you do when you, that's what you get when you do a commentary like this. And this is a commentary, by the way. I know the difference. This is not a news video. This is a commentary, so understand its opinion. So say what you will. I hope everybody votes next week. I don't know if I'll get another commentary up before then, but I do hope you vote. I do hope you have a wonderful Halloween. I'll be back with you, and let me tell you something. Big news concerning me coming very soon. I might be back in your homes in one media, form or fashion, quicker than you might expect. Get ready. You can't get rid of me yet. You're not rid of me yet. Happy Halloween.